Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. HGM here, and in today's video, we are checking out PTS patch notes for the High Isle chapter. This, I believe, is the week 4 PTS. So we're getting very close to the end, and some interesting changes here on the patch notes, specifically changes to the Dragonite class. Now, for me, this is pretty unexpected. Like I said, week 4, we don't typically see major class balance changes this late in the game as far as the PTS. And in terms of what was affected, it's basically just one class. The Dragonite class got some changes to its abilities. Now, this is a little bit disappointing, I would say. I personally am really digging the Dragonite class right now. I would say next to maybe the Templar, which is probably my main class, I have really been enjoying playing the Dragonite as of late. Really good sustain, really great defensive potential. Their self-healing has been greatly improved in the past couple patches. They are really taking advantage of the hybrid, the highest offensive stat scaling. Dragonites are feeling really good. So to get these changes, essentially nerfs in the very end of the PTS patch cycle, a little bit disappointing, but let's check these out and see where the Dragonites are going to fall now when it comes to the High Isle chapter release. So down here in the combat and ability changes, I'll have this linked in the description, by the way, if you want to check it out. But we have changes in the Ardent Flame skill line, and specifically Searing Strike and the Burning Embers morph. So what's new here? They reduced the healing value from this morph to up to 50%, down from 100%. So basically, this skill is a damage over time that also heals you back for the amount of damage that you do. Currently, you get all that back as healing, but come the High Isle chapter with this change, that's going to be just 50% of the healing compared to the damage. So let's go ahead and see what they are saying about this one. The developer comment says, right now the healing values from this ability are enabling the Dragonite too much staying power, and they want to retain the ability to reward the caster for going in, dotting up their foes, and the raw damage and healing is simply too much in its current form. So that is the situation with Burning Embers. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments section. Like I said, I have been playing Dragonite a lot. I play it in PvE, I play it in PvP. I think the healing was in a very good place. And I think all classes in ESO should have really strong healing. I mean, all classes should have access to good burst healing effects, AoE healing, and healing over time, which is what Burning Embers was. It's nice, especially if you're playing solo, to not have to rely on something like the Ring of the Pale Order Mythic, and just get your healing back from your normal abilities. It feels really good. And so this healing reduction on Burning Embers, this may hurt the class a little bit. Now keep in mind, I think they still have kept this the same, where you can affect multiple targets. So you can have multiple Burning Embers heals happening at once if you have enough targets that you've damaged, but versus something like maybe a solo boss fight, a 1v1 situation, your healing is going to be reduced. And again, this is for the High Isle chapter coming out in the next few weeks. And now there is something else here in terms of sustain, and that is the Combustion passive. This passive now has a cooldown of 3 seconds, up from 0.5 seconds. So let's read the developer comment here. This passive is enabling a lot of sustain in situations where you're building around it with status chance increases. So I'm guessing like the charge status effect, allowing DK to sustain effortlessly with a few passive options. This class was originally meant to struggle more with sustain. That's pretty interesting. With larger amounts of burst with Battle Roar and Combustion procs peppered in. And while we love the synergy here with some more niche gameplay elements like Charged, focusing on status effects, this passive was removing one of the core weaknesses of the class that kept it in check in many areas. So again, they're talking about sustain for the Dragonite, and as such, we're increasing the cooldown in hopes to bring back some of the natural difficulty of the class. Wow, so again, one of those things that has been great with the Dragonite lately with their sustain, they have multiple sources of sustain, right? Not just Combustion, but they mentioned the Battle Roar passive. There's also other passives that they have for sustain. So cutting back the passive sustain from Combustion, only 3 seconds now you can get those procs instead of once every half second. So this will be interesting to see. Maybe, builds might not use Charge on the Dragonite quite as much. I know that's been really a focus of a lot of people, making sure you have that Charge trait like on your front bar weapon to get that extra sustain. I usually don't use the Charge trait on my Dragonite. I would still use something like Precise, and my sustain has usually been pretty good. I mean, especially when you factor in Battle Roar and things like potions, even Tri-Stat potions. I don't think this is going to affect sustain too much unless you really were trying to push, extreme sustain as much as possible using the charge trait. Then this is definitely going to make a difference next patch. One more here, and again, some of my favorite abilities and passives are getting affected. Dragon's Blood, specifically Coagulating Blood. This is a really good healing morph that can be used by any DK build, Magicka, Stamina, hybrid setup, doesn't matter. This is a great burst heal. This morph no longer reduces in cost, but instead increases the healing bonus based on your missing health, up to 50%, which is up from 33%. The healing bonus is now a true value rather than an additive value, and they reduce the base healing of the skill by approximately 3%. So let's go ahead and read the developer comment on this one. This skill is currently enabling the Dragonite to bounce back from near-death situations a little too frequently, where its significant cost reduction compared to the other burst heals of its nature is allowing it to be cast with Reckless Abandon. Taking away the cost reduction bonus on the morph, we needed to find another empowerment to ensure the skill felt like it was granting something rather than changing something. The skill is meant to bring you back from death's door, but they wanted to reinforce this with a greater execute scaling increase, so that means it's going to heal for more now, but hopefully the frequency is going to be a little bit less. So in other words, Coagulating Blood is going to heal for more, up to 50%, but it's going to cost a lot more, meaning you probably won't be able to use it multiple times in a row, especially in like PvP if you're trying to come back. You might have to be a little bit more strategic in how and when you use this skill. So I'm okay with this change personally. The cost reduction was nice, but it does make sense that they would kick that cost up a little bit more to match other class burst heals. So overall, I think I'm okay with this one. Plus, we're going to get a little bit more burst healing, which might actually be nice. So all in all, again, I was really surprised to see these basically nerfs near the very end of the PTS cycles. So your best heal over time, Burning Embers, got cut in half. One of your best sustain passives, Combustion, got a much longer cooldown. Like I said, Coagulating Blood, I don't see that as a huge nerf, more just sort of a shift in how you're going to use that ability in combat. But of course, I would like to know what you guys think. Let me know what you think down in the comments section below. Do you think these nerfs to the Dragonite class for the High Isle chapter, are these warranted? Or is this over the top? Like I said, for me, I thought Dragonites were in a really good place going into the High Isle chapter. We'll have to see where the class lands once this patch hits the live servers. It's going to definitely be interesting. So as always, let me know what you think down in the comments section. If you liked the video today, crush that like button. Make sure you're subscribed for much more ESO content, guides, and builds. And as always, thank you for watching. I will see you around in the next video.